guys, I'm Megan. Welcome to our Darin Faith series. We're so glad that you are here joining us this week. In this series, we're learning all about how we can be people of daring faith. We'll be looking at different people in the Bible who had incredible faith in God and learn how we can have the same unwavering faith in God too. To help better understand this, we're going to sing a song about our memory verse, which is Ephesians 3:20, and it says, "With God's power working in us, God can do much, much more than anything we can ask or imagine." Let's sing it together.
With God's power working in us, God can do much, much more than anything we can ask or imagine. Ephesians 3:20. With God's power working in us, God can do much, much more than anything we can ask or imagine. Ephesians 3:20. With God's power working in us, God can do much, much more than anything we can ask or imagine. Ephesians 3:20.
That was a great song. That worship song teaches us that God can do such incredible things. He has great things planned for our lives. He can do big things that may seem impossible for us, but with God on our side, anything is possible. Now it's time to watch a defined video where we learn more about our word of the week. Let's check it out.
Have you ever thought about the vast and infinite space between the stars above? Can you imagine a God-made wonder this breathtaking? In order to do this, we first need to know what it really means to imagine. The dictionary definition of the word imagine is to form a mental image or concept of something in your mind. Forming a mental image or imagining something is like seeing pictures or even movies in your mind. Let's try this out. Everyone, close your eyes and picture your favourite Christmas memory. Ready? Go. Okay, open your eyes. Did you see your family? If so, what did their smile look like? What were they wearing? What colour are their eyes? Or did you see lights? Were they hanging from a tree or lining the roofs and chimneys of homes? What colour was their soft glow? Blue, green, red? Congratulations! You just used your imagination. Isn't it amazing that our minds are able to see details such as these about something that happened days, months, or even years ago? So, what does God say about imagining? Well, for starters, He gave us the wonder which is our brain and the ability to use our imagination. In fact, using your imagination to form pictures in your mind about God's truths and believing in His Word, even when we don't see things with our eyes, is a major part of faith. You can exercise your imagination by picturing images from stories in the Bible, like movies in your mind. In fact, the more you dream about and imagine God's Word, the deeper it will be planted in your heart and the closer you will grow to God. Our imagination is a gift from God and an important tool to living a life of daring faith.
That was an awesome video. This video helped to define our word this week and also helped us gain a better understanding of how we can have daring faith. Now we're going to watch our Bible story where we will see an example of how we can have daring faith and how we can depend on God in all situations. Let's watch it and see what happens.
There once was a man named Joshua who loved God with his whole heart. The day came when Joshua needed to have courageous faith and cross the Jordan River when it was rushing with so much water that there was no way anyone could walk through it. God told Joshua to have the priests carry the Ark of the Covenant and stand in the river. God said that as soon as a priest set foot in the river, the water would stop flowing and dry ground would appear. And so Joshua, the priests, and the Israelites did as God asked. As soon as the priests reached the river and their feet touched the water's edge, the water stopped flowing. Then the Israelites crossed the dry riverbed to the town of Jericho, just as God had planned.
What a great Bible story! This Bible story helped us to learn more about how we can believe in God even when we are facing difficult circumstances. We can take comfort in knowing that God's promises are true. God's word tells us that He will always be with us and that He loves us more than we could ever imagine. Now it's time to hear from Pastor Steve and learn more about how we can be people of daring faith. Let's watch it together.
Hi guys, well let me give you a little backstory on what you just watched. You see, the Israelites had come out of Egypt. They used to be slaves in Egypt, and they had been out of Egypt for a long time, walking around the desert, waiting for God to give them instructions and directions on which way to go. And Moses, who was leading the Israelites, had died. And a new leader is now leading them. His name is Joshua. And God told Joshua, it's now time to go into the promised land. You've walked around long enough. Now take the Israelites and go into the promised land. And it was a bunch of people. It wasn't just a few hundreds or a few thousand. It was a ton of people. So the Israelites got up, pulled up their camp, and started walking in the direction that Joshua was leading them according to God's direction. And they came to a river. Now this wasn't just a small river. It was a pretty big river, and it was rushing really hard. It was that time of the season where there's a lot of water. And they stood there wondering how in the world they were going to get across this. There was no bridge, so they didn't know what they were going to do. And God told them to step out into faith. Now, it would make sense to me if they went to the water and they waited for God just to make the water stop, and then they went across. Okay, that'd be cool, but God didn't say that. God said, step out into the water. So the priest had to literally step into the water. And as each time they stepped into the water would stop, it would stop, it would stop, it would stop, until it finally all receded back. And then the Israelites were able to walk across dry ground onto the other side of the river. You and I, we can have daring faith just like Joshua, by following God and imagining what it would be like when God answers that prayer, imagining what it will be like when God does that something that you're believing Him for. And that's daring faith. Now, Hank and Charlie have gotten themselves into a sticky situation. Let's check in with them and see what's going on. See ya.
Wow! Pastor Steve helped us to understand how we can have daring faith by believing and trusting in God's promises. Regardless of what we're going through, we can choose to have daring faith by believing in who God says He is. Now, we're going to watch an episode of Daring Faith where we will see two brothers, Hank and Charlie, embark on a journey together to space. They are on a mission to save the world. Let's watch it together.
Come on, sit up, buddy. Get some air, come on. Come on, good. Hey, how many fingers?
4.
Good.
Why'd we stop?
Oh, I don't know. It could be. What if we stopped because we finally entered the orbit of the new moon? That would mean that you and I are the first people to ever orbit the new moon. We're the first guys to orbit the new moon. Yeah, not the real moon, but it's still a moon. Yeah, we're orbiting.
Hey, stop. Have you talked to Mission Control?
No.
Well, have you tried to reach them?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's try again.
Okay. Mission Control, do you copy? This is Night Owl.
Night Owl?
Oh, yeah. So, I decided to name the ship Night Owl, okay? Because in space, it's like always nighttime, and owls are pretty cool.
There must have been a glitch with the auto ignition.
The feedback loop has a delay. The ignition must have fired, or else we wouldn't have received a signal.
There had to have been a delay for them to have missed their window.
Unless it's a matter of power. If those rockets don't fire at full capacity from the first second, they can't punch through.
What? Did they make it to the second moon?
Unfortunately, no.
Where are they?
In the orbit of the first moon.
Have you been in contact with the subjects?
Not yet. When we finish our briefing, we'll radio them and give them an update.
You are not to be in contact with the subjects until we come up with a plan.
If I may, sir, we don't want them to make any incorrect assumptions about their location.
They couldn't possibly believe that they are in the orbit of the second moon.
I just think it's still pretty crazy that we're the first people to orbit the new moon.
I know, I just wish we could see something. It's where there's not one window in here.
So she's like, I've never been to the Chili's on Crown Valley. I'm like, well, can I take you? She's like, sure. And then, I have a surprise for you.
Surprise?
Yeah, I just remembered. Let's just say I set up a little entertainment for you and I.
Entertainment? You brought our living room to space?
Yes, I did. I did. When they asked me if there was anything I wanted them to pack on the ship for us, I was like, anything? What do you think?
You brought our living room to space!
That's what I'm talking about, man. Take a seat, relax.
Oh, you brought the Xbox?
Of course I brought the Xbox. I got Madden, Need for Speed.
Oh, did you bring the steering wheel remote?
What? No. You're the only one on Earth that uses that thing.
You know that's not true. Joey Sorelli down the street uses it, and he's the best.
Oh, I'm sorry. Joey Sorelli, the 31-year-old who lives with his mom and collects cats.
Yeah, well, we're 25, and we live with our grandma.
Okay, good point. Let's just set it up.
Henry! Jerry! Boys!
There's gotta be an outlet.
Wait. What is this?
What? Hey, stop messing around. Come over here, help me.
If you're watching this, then
Hey! This is that one lady from that thing.
Hank, seriously, stop messing around. You're the one who wanted to play Xbox, so come on over here. Let's do this.
Fine. Jeez. Just look for an outlet.
There is one option we haven't discussed. We have enough fuel in the D cell for another full burn. That may get us to the new moon.
If we burn D-cell, there'll be no fuel for the return flight. They'll have no chance of making it back.
Can you get them in range of the second moon?
maybe.
Mr. Ames, I must protest.
That's enough for now. Have a report on this ready for me in 1 hour.
Are you sure this is gonna work?
You want to play Need for Speed or not?
Yes. Of course I do.
Plus, I made a few modifications.
What do you mean you made modifications?
I mean, I messed with the motherboard, and now we literally have infinite lives.
Just make sure you don't mess anything up, okay? This is very risky. If we fry that Xbox, Grandma will not let us get another one till next Christmas, okay?
Listen, I know. Just trust me, okay? Now, are you ready for some warp speed racing?
Oh yeah.
What a great episode of Daring Faith! We learned more about Hank and Charlie's mission while seeing how the two of them got themselves into a hilarious situation. Remember, in order for Hank and Charlie to accomplish their mission to save the world, they will need to have Daring Faith. Now it's time to join Space Go for our Daring Faith quiz, where we will get to see how much we remember from our Bible story. If you think you know the answer, make sure to shout it out! Let's go ahead and join Space Go for our Daring Faith quiz.
Challenger.
For thousands of years, people have looked up to the stars and wondered what's beyond. Thoughts of distant galaxies, strange planets, and possibly even life unlike any we've known on Earth. But no one could have ever imagined in the deep expanse of our universe lives one furry creature with 4 legs and a jetpack. Bah. His name is Space Goat, and he's here to help you, and he's here to help us, here to help us answer life's toughest questions. What river was Joshua crossing? The Mississippi River? The Nile River? Or the Jordan River? Well done! Joshua was crossing the Jordan River. Why was crossing the river difficult for Joshua? Because he forgot his floaties? He had just purchased some new shoes? He had to first step into the water before God would stop the river. Perfect! Crossing the river was difficult for Joshua because he had to step out in faith for God to stop the river. What were the Israelites carrying across the river? The Ark of the Covenant? Animals? Cute purses? Yes, indeed, the Israelites were carrying the Ark of the Covenant across the Jordan River. Until next time, stay spacey, cadets.
Challenger, go and throttle up.
Great job on that quiz! Remember, we can have daring faith by putting our hope and trust in God at all times. He knows what's best for us and promises to always take care of us. Well, that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.